Bryn and friends, Bryn and friends. It starts with Bryn, but that's not where it ends. You've also got a bunch of her friends, Bryn and friends, Bryn and friends.
Featuring Samson.
All men are trash.
Emanuel.
Wow, I have porcelain K-pop stars.
Zachary.
Oh, I made a bad face when they took the fight. So like,
And the best in the West, Bryn Wall.
Bryn and friends, Bryn and friends. On the internet talking about stuff. Different views off the cuff. What do you think will get discussed? Bryn and friends, Bryn and friends.
It's nice to see you all.
Wow.
I was gonna start with, do you believe in ghosts? Because it's the only question I really care about.
Oh, great.
Samson?
well, actually, the whole episode.
Samson, do you believe in ghosts?
No, I don't believe in ghosts. It's the only question I didn't care about before we started. I was like, good. There'll be time I can check my phone and have a little water. But no, from a young age, I was very not into anything supernatural or religious. But that's kind of stuck with me. No matter how many of my friends pretend the Ouija board is moving, I've never been convinced.
Is that a correlation there between religion and ghosts for you?
Sure. I think there's lots of religions are kind of based around ghosts that are still around telling people what to do, I think.
I was literally gonna say like ghosts in relation to spirits in my like semi religious upbringing. Well, not semi-religious, it was like straight up religious. So yeah, I feel like that's tied to like that kind of thing.
That's interesting because I wasn't raised religious and I don't believe in religion or God or anything, but I do believe in ghosts.
Oh.
Yeah, that's interesting. That might be an even more interesting correlation.
Were you brought up religious, Samson?
No, not at all. So I guess that's
Shut it down. I'm like you. I was not raised religious, and I do believe in. Well, I guess believe in ghosts is like a strong expression. I'm like open to the idea. It was like, oh, in some ways, like DNA is a ghost, or like like ways that things from the past express themselves in the present. There are like more sort of less literal ways that I was thinking about it that I'm into.
Yeah, some people have really convincing ghost stories.
Mm-hmm.
See, I gotta hear those ghost stories. But that's the thing, I don't like being scared. Like, I
right,
hate horror
It is scary.
movies, and I was traumatized from a very young age being forced to watch like horror movies by my sister. And I had like nightmares.
Bryn, I feel like if you had a younger sibling, they would be telling that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I watched The Exorcist at 10.
Yeah.
That's the right age, right?
I think there are ghosts, but they're inside all of us. This is kind of my whole religious, and I guess in the same sense, kind of ghost metaphor is kind of comforting myself at one point, feeling like, when we die, we all kind of get broken down into smaller and smaller particles as we go. And as that happens, we kind of spread out in the universe until we're finally infinitesimally small and infinitesimally all over the place. So in a sense, everything is ghosts.
Yeah, right.
Everything
Totally.
is the history around us. So, I mean, in that sense, yeah, ghosts exist.
Let's talk about Bill and Ted. This was Zach's submission.
I know. I regret suggesting
So
this now
I've seen literally 0 of these movies.
Has anybody seen them?
I believe in Bill and Ted. I'll tell you.
Jordan had never seen it, and so Jordan's my partner, and we were like, let's get stoned and watch Bill and Ted's, and so we did. And like halfway through the movie, I was like, this movie is about 2 white dudes who have like, I mean, arguably it's a Generation X metaphor too, but like have like no talent and like, it seems like low intelligence, like, and somehow through the narrative of the story end up like truly ruling the world. They just go back in time. They rescue mostly like white dudes from history, and then like basically school their Black history teacher about history, and then like pass their class. and ruled the world.
It's
Well,
like
I like Bogus Journey better.
I haven't seen Bogus Journey in a long time. So.
Okay, for the record.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
that one
Samson,
either.
what's you love Bill and Ted? Is that your
Yeah, I do. I mean, as a kid, I watched Excellent Adventure. I was like, oh, this is a fun, weird time travel movie. I didn't read too much into it. But my love really arrived when I saw Bogus Journey, which is one of those very weird sequels that I know everyone kind of liked Bill and Ted, and it's kind of remembered as like a Back to the Future, like just a movie that everyone loved when they were a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And the second one, like Gremlins 2, is just like, they're like, okay, well, we don't want to make that movie again. Let's just do something super weird. So there's heaven and hell and aliens and like the most and evil robot versions of them. And it's just like an absolutely weird departure that I love very dearly. And then I like Bill and Ted Face the Music. I think it finishes up strong. It actually, I think, responds to some of the issues with the first movie.
Well, do you think I should skip the first one? Like if I
No.
didn't watch it as a kid?
No, you have to watch the first
No, you
one.
have to watch the first one. I say watch all three if you have time. My niece was a huge fan. We used to watch Bogus Journey together, and she loved it very much. And she went for Halloween with her girlfriend as Bill and Ted,
Aw.
and they dressed perfectly like them. And I was so pleased, but they just looked like slackers. So people weren't giving them candy. They just were dressed like.
What?
So they had to go back home and put on zombie makeup, and so they went as zombie Bill and Ted for Halloween so they could get candies.
That's funny. Did you watch them, Emmanuel? I didn't.
No.
hear you say- Yeah. Okay. So you guys are probably just older than Emmanuel and I.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was like, ooh, I was
I think it's
wondering.
like more than probably.
What are we, like 100? Gross.
Are people following Free Britney?
Oh yeah, that's so
Yeah.
interesting to me.
Okay. No. Yeah.
I did a little bit of research on the topic. After reading a little bit about ghosts, I looked up a little bit about Free Britney. And I mean, the interesting things to me are like, I don't know, I think they're like conservationships or something they're called.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that usually the people can, like, very obviously cannot make their own decisions. They can't make their own breakfast, things like that.
I don't know what her mental health is and if that is for her own good and if that does make sense. But it doesn't make sense to me that how much work she does. Like how, like she was touring right away after they claimed her like unfit to spend her own money.
Yeah,
and
right.
then they were like, but also go on tour and make more
Yeah.
money. Like
gotta
it
keep
seems like
paying
those
us.
two are the things that don't line up.
I was thinking, man, the number of people that should have conservatorships, if this is the criteria, is pretty high, right? It's just because
Would
she's
be
crazy rich.
everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also looked up, like, she was worth about $56 million 15 years ago. And since then, she's made over like $500 million. And she's worth about $56 million right now,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
also very peculiar.
Hmm.
It's like another one of those tropes of like a father figure managing like a female celebrity figure and then it like just going south completely. So I don't know. I feel for her. Like every time she has one of those like videos that are kind of like, whoa, she's like on verge of something, or she's just like the pathos, you know, like you're just watching. Okay,
Oh yeah,
just
especially
let
the
her
fact-
go.
Like, I mean, you might not remember this, Manuel, but when she first, when she was the biggest pop star in the world and she had her first kind of breakdown, people as fans and the world was not equipped to respond properly to that. Now this happens with artists all the time.
Mhm.
They'll freak out or something will happen and everybody and their dog is like, you know, like, this happens to people, like, you know, give them a break.
It's weird. It's just her
God.
dad making the decisions. I don't like it.
Yeah.
No.
It's gross.
Yeah, we can all agree we don't like Britney Spears' dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a unanimous.
Like, no one's arguing that, you know,
He's a good
he
guy.
should have all the power.
No.
At no point, yeah. Someone else. If Britney needs help, not her dad.
Yes.
That's a hit single right there.
I will never totally forgive Justin Timberlake for having a relationship with Britney and then coming out of that more popular and like scot-free. And
Totally.
Yeah.
or I'll talk to people, younger people, Emmanuel's age, probably.
Stop.
I'm like, do you know Justin Timberlake? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, do you know Britney Spears? And they're like, a little. And I'm like, you know they dated? And they're like, no, they didn't. There's no way. And I'm like, yes, they did.
My brain like instantly
Whole
pulled up
history.
the denim photo. As
Yes.
You said that.
That's an iconic look, though.
But it's kind of bugging me because I was trying to think of other like young stars, and I was thinking Mickey Mouse Club, and it's like, oh, there's like Ryan Gosling and Justin Timberlake, but these guys they're popular, but then they get out of it scot-free. But then these women are not getting out. It was really bugging me because I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I was kind of like, well, I guess the people we're talking about were way more famous. And then I remembered, of course, Michael Jackson. His relationship with his father for sure has screwed him up as being like a regular adult in so many different ways. And so there is, some, not all men, get away.
We're watching the Nexium documentary that.
Oh yeah, wow.
Oh my God.
But like it really, I mean, it's all celebrities that are kind of like, and it makes me think of like the Church of Scientology, and I don't know, like what is it about Hollywood or celebrity culture? It's basically this spectacle, and you're in the middle of it, being like judged for it, and then it like creates all these things where you're like susceptible for like what is identity and what is meaning, and like I don't know. I just like watching Allison Mack, like
I did see Kristen Kruk at a Radiohead concert though. I was high on mushrooms, and I thought she was a hostess from the Edmonton Chili's I worked at.
Yes.
I didn't know where I recognized her from. So I went up to her and just put my hands on her shoulder while she was talking to her friends and said, this chick never shuts the fuck up, does she?
No.
And then I walked away.
And then someone else told you who she was.
No, and then I looked back and I was like, why would the hostess? And then I was like, I think that's someone else. And then my friend was like, that's the girl from Smallville. And I was like, oh God.
That's
like, do I go back and apologize?
amazing.
No, definitely stay
with
away
this story.
from her
This
forever.
is so good.
So that's probably the beginning of all the problems. I haven't seen the documentary yet. But
How you feel about a vaccine? Like, do you feel confident that when there's a vaccine announced, it will be safe? It'll be like real? Will you take it? Emanuel?
I mean, I come from a family where they're all nurses, and I think I'm also very like I'm an anti-vaxxer, I would say. But I also understand the like hesitance of like governments pushing things through for potential like political clout, but I'm not necessarily concerned about that in Canada's case. If a vaccine were released, that I would have to do my part to go and take it.
Yeah. Samson?
Yeah, I'll take that vaccine. Give me the vaccine. First of all, I think I will almost always trust the nurse more than anyone else. They see the shit, literally, and the blood and the tears and stuff. So if a family nurse is telling me to take a vaccine, I'm going to do it. And I mean, I don't know my history, but I feel like there's never been the great vaccine bungle of 1927 where it's like that one time everyone took the vaccine, but then everyone died because it was a bad vaccine.
There was a study I read in the States, 60% of people are saying they might not take it.
I feel like people in the States are always like might not vote for Biden.
Everyone's
You know what I
undecided.
mean? Like,
Everyone's an undecided
they're
voter.
on the fence. They're like no one can commit to something there. Like, who are these people in the middle that need convincing either way? Like, it seems pretty clear to me. I don't know.
Yeah. It wasn't a ghost,
just
it was my
opened your
dad.
door. Yeah.
Ooh, that's
I was
exactly
so
what happened.
excited.
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of reading about like what the sort of sequencing of who gets the vaccine first, basically. And there's just no way I'm at the top of that list.
Yeah.
And so by the time it gets to me,
Well, no.
yeah, kind of like I don't feel great saying that, but it's like I feel like people in schools probably will be closer to the top of the list, like, and more vulnerable.
Basketball players.
Yeah.
Legit, like
The president.
yeah. So I'm like at that. I mean, yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
That's a good
canaries in this coal mine. Yeah.
When do you consider someone a friend? Specifically me. When did you consider me a friend? No.
Leo.
Zach, I'll start with you.
I use it like way too soon. I think it's like partially because there's like an absence of a word in between acquaintance and friend. You know, it's like, I think there's like a gap in the language that makes me just default to friend. But especially like in a time period now where you know so many people through the internet, where it's like you almost need like a word for that kind of relationship where you're like, I don't talk to them very often. I'm aware of what's happening in their life. We can have conversations, but friend feels like too strong a word. But I just use it for everybody, it seems. So.
I guess like literally on social media, like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Friend, if you're following them, so like it's like the bar is very low, and then they have like
to click a button,
and then they have like close friends, which is just like another word for like, I don't want my parents to see this. And you still kind of have some people that are like probably just acquaintances,
right?
I love your
occurrences.
Your close friends versus my old people close friends.
Oh no.
Which is my friends who don't want to bother people with their pics of their kids.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's like,
I really didn't mean to set up this wall between us, Samson.
I was thinking about, well, when you're just hanging out with someone by yourselves for the first time, and I was like, no, that's not it, because sometimes you're stuck with acquaintances or people that you talk to, and
or you say yes to something you didn't want to.
Yeah. The only thing that I can really kind of glean from it is when I get a text from someone like past a certain time and I'm not angry or weirded out that I got it.
What's your time limit for friendship?
I'd say past 11.
Okay.
10 is pushing it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is quite late. You realize you have friends you didn't even know you had.
After 11?
Yeah, once you get that text message and you respond and that conversation makes total sense that you're having it right then that person's your friend.
Yeah.
Was like what makes someone a close friend, and like what are those rules? Because I feel like there are some people that I don't necessarily talk to in a really long time, but then as soon as I kind of like step into the same room with them, can pick up a conversation, and there's like no love lost. Like I can't use time or length of time from when I talk to someone to like dictate whether someone is a close friend or not. Yeah. But I don't even know necessarily what my criteria is, but
I recognize that for sure, where I think for friends, if you don't see your friend for a very long time, you talk to them, you catch up, you find out what's going on with them. Whereas my close friends, I won't talk to them. I won't talk to someone for like 6 months or however long. And the first message I'll get from them is like, yo, did you see the new trailer for Dune? And I'll be like, yeah, it's crazy. Because we know we're okay. We know we're always okay. And if we weren't, we let each other know. And so that's kind of the only conversation we have to have is just the dumbest, whatever things that have connected us through our life. And that's, for me, my close friends, like, they'll never be like, hey, how's it? It's been a while. Or,
there was a conversation I remember Claire and I had. It was probably like a couple years after high school. And I was like, we didn't really become friends until after high school. And then I think it was like a couple days or like maybe a week even. And Claire was like, I thought we were friends in high school. And like, maybe I was just like, and that's like, maybe has to do with my own like self-confidence in like being likable or like people wanting to be my friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've always been like very
Which is why this podcast exists, or what?
Sorry?
Bryn and friends.
Yeah.
To affirm your friendship.
Yeah. It's when you agree to be on this show.
So who are the people that said no?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No one said no yet.
Oh, no, you make good friends.
I'm very careful.
Sorry. I just thought there must be at least 4 or 5 people out there that are like, how has she not invited me?
I will say there's people I don't invite because I know they wouldn't want to do this.
Do they know that?
Oh, you know what?
That's cute.
Cody said no.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah.
And you'd already forgotten about her.
Yeah. Blocked her number. Do you have more than one best friend?
I don't really use that word anymore, I don't think.
Okay.
I think we like use linear measurements for too many things. And I think that most things that we try, like I think about this sometimes in terms of politics, in terms of like left and right. And it's like such a weird spectrum in my mind for like how we gauge people's sort of value systems. And I think friends are the same way. It's like, it would be very hard for me to measure it in a linear fashion. Whereas I think I turn to different people for different reasons. So it's more of like a plot graph.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a couple people that like stand out as like people that I'm constantly, you know, in contact with that isn't family or isn't my partner. To other people, they look like my best friend, but also I agree with Zach that I wouldn't use that term, and we don't like describing our relationship with each other as being exceptional. I guess we just, I mean, and I feel like over time I've had so many quote unquote best friends that like at the older that I get, that I'm just like, I feel like that word doesn't fit anymore, because you know, what does it mean for you to have many best friends and then you've lost them? But then I don't really think I've like lost them. We've just kind of grown apart, or like our worlds kind of diverged, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we're like, you know, there was bad blood between us.
Just like Emanuel was saying, I've had, you know, my very best friend ever, who is now just a security question answer to get into my bank account, because it's, you know, it's 25 years ago, and you know, you grow apart and stuff. But I guess I always play the traditional game of looking at, if I ever were to get married, who my like best man would be and who my big party would be. And yeah, I agree with Zachary that it's like, I wouldn't say I have a best friend. There's all sorts of people who are very important to me in different ways. I do recognize that certain people do find that connection with someone and have best friends, or maybe people's partners are their best friend, which is adorable and doesn't make
it's not.
Perfect.
Dom is not.
You shut that down before the sentence was over.
But I mean, I have more than one friend who I feel extremely strongly about as being like of utmost importance in my life. So if you put it that way, then yeah, I have more than one best friend.
Okay.
But like you said, that term is not a term that I wouldn't be like, this is my best friend, and then this is my best friend.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were like, how many best friends do you have? And I was like, this is a trick question. And they were all like, about 5. And I was like, turn it off. Like, no, you don't have 5 best. You have one. I much prefer don't use best friend to overuse it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To misuse
one. At any given moment, there's one. And similarly, I hate the partner thing, like calling your partner your best friend. It's like, no, you're already calling them your husband or your wife or your partner. Like, you already have a title for that.
I wish I had the opportunity to make a judgment on what I'd want to call my partner. Must be nice, Bryn.
It is. It feels really good.
Great. My plants are my best friends.
Which one's your favorite?
You like them equally.
Oh, multiple best friends.
So then they're just friends, I think.
Have you guys ever had like a firm friend breakup? Like, have you ever had to like verbally end a friendship, or do you just like always let them kind of
So Zach,
taper
you
off?
haven't watched the last episode?
Did you guys talk about this in the last episode?
Yeah. But it's fun to talk about. Let's talk about it. Have you, Zach? Since you asked?
I don't think so. I was trying to think about it when you talked about it, because I always think like there's that weird pressure to keep a friendship going, as if like anything that doesn't last forever is a failure. And then you get that point where you're just like, oh, I just like can't even manage having this many people to like keep up with, and you're like, no, we've grown apart. But I don't think I've ever had one where I like had to officially like cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
There were some friend breakups that happened when I was a teen that I just like didn't see coming, or like that felt like a big surprise to me. Yeah, so I feel like that can be pretty formative in terms of like how you form friendships later on. And I've been luckily able to avoid that situation growing up. But it's also like I'm now more comfortable with friends just naturally kind of pulling apart, or like understanding kind of like, oh, we were friends in that circumstance because we lived, you know, in this situation, or like we went to school together and blah blah blah. But I've been very kind of like, like this doesn't serve my purpose anymore. Or like this, this is like very like it brings out a negative side in me, for example. Or
I've very recently had some abrupt friendship ends for like political opinion reasons. No one seems to bring that up yet, but yeah, certainly at least one that was kind of conversations growing and growing to the point of which kind of our friend group was like, I don't want to argue with you anymore, and that your beliefs are so strong in opposition to mine that I just don't think it's worth it. And the person's like, yeah, fine, and that's it. So that happened for sure. Wow. And moving to Vancouver, I ran into a very old friend of mine who we always kept in touch. And when I moved here, we met up. And by the end of lunch, I was like, I'm not going to hang out with this person anymore for the same reasons. When you were saying like, Claire thought you guys were friends in school, and then after school, I mean, this sheer drop of friends you have in high school versus when you leave is ridiculous. Like your life. I
mean, not me, because I wasn't counting anyone. I gained a friend.
Wow, we should all be taking a page from your book. We can't.
I had no friends in high school, and then one after.
Yeah.
Things are.
Sorry, go on, Samson.
But that's so interesting in thinking about kind of going back to the ghost conversation about that friendship is. I'm just trying to tie all that. Yeah. That there's like a connection to place and circumstance too, right? Like that some friendships exist in a time and place and don't translate, right? Like they shouldn't evolve beyond that. I was watching the comedians in cars getting coffee with Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Jerry Seinfeld, and I was like, oh, you guys aren't friends. Like all you can talk about is memories from the show. Like that's like clearly this, like you guys haven't spoken in a long time. Like it was so entertaining just for that reason of like the moments where they were like, we're out of memories to talk about. Like, okay, we need to wrap this up.
Drive faster.
Yeah.
Emoji Corner? Claire?
She's gone.
Hi, no,
oh yeah, sorry, she left.
The best friend conversation.
I said too much shit.
Claire Dunn has left.
Emoji Corner with Claire Dunn. Time for Emoji Corner.
Everybody ready for Emoji Corner?
Yep.
That is an emoji. I'm confused about making the eye sockets different. Why design it that way?
Yeah, he reminds me of Crazy Octopus, though. The coat rack, they put the 2 screws in and then the 2 hooks. And
I wonder if that was on the mood board.
That's the only thing on the mood board.
Wait, Emanuel, you're a designer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can tell the way you just thought about it. Like you're thinking about the design.
Oh my God.
Does anyone use this emoji?
I have friends that use it when they've abruptly left.
Oh, ghosting.
Yeah. So that'll be like, if I'm like, and generally it just means I know that the conversation's over for a little bit.
Oh, that's such a nice, like,
That is a nice thing.
sort of closing.
Well, I think it's me.
Bye, guys.
It seems a little rude, I thought, yeah. Well, since we're on the theme of different size eyes.
Yeah, it's just the
hard
ghost
to
when he
make
was alive, right?
Jordan uses that all the time.
Really? In what
Yeah.
context?
Like a sly joke, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Gays love music this. Like it's very like
Oh,
It's like a tea
that just,
thing.
I totally see it differently.
Grindr did like a whole set of specific emojis as well.
It's like just like dirty
Yeah.
emojis.
Yeah.
Wait, are we using this in the same way? Like, let's define this.
I thought it was just raining.
Well, so there's this Emojipedia thing. So this is what they define it as. Yeah, flirting.
Sexual face?
Face.
Guys, that's not my sexual face.
What is?
Absolutely not.
It was the last
No, it's the ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a sexy ghost.
Yay.
Like, I'm not wearing any
sex.
underpants.
Like not, and no one noticing. I'm just like exiting out of sex.
Slowly backing out of the room.
Burrito.
Has anyone ever
Never.
used this emoji?
I didn't even know it existed.
Me neither. Look at
It
some
looks
really
really
shining
delicious.
too.
up close. I can
Wow.
see the cilantro.
Mm-hmm.
What are these brown things? Is that meat or is that like black beans?
Beans.
Rice and beans.
No, because
maybe?
the white things are the beans.
Yeah, there's white beans.
So that must be meat.
Yeah.
That must be like beef.
I feel like the tinfoil is far too smooth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All the
it would
other
be
We better
like,
write
there's-
them a
there's
letter.
imperfections on the tortilla.
Absolutely. They're putting that much detail in. Why didn't they do it up?
Yeah, crinkle up that tinfoil a little.
When I look at it, I think it's a total failure. Whoever came up with it, I was like, oh, that.
Yeah.
Cancel them.
Terrible. If someone was like thinking of getting that emoji today, I'd be like, what the fuck are you texting me? Having said all that, I feel like there's a subset of children or people that know exactly what that means, and it's not what I think it is.
Yeah.
And it has
Oh, it's a porn
totally-
emoji. Now that
This
you
is a
mention it.
vaginal
Oh,
one.
I was gonna say this could be anal.
Oh.
No, it's vaginal.
I don't know
You're
why.
wrong. Zach, trust me.
I'm gonna Google it. What is the
Maybe
burrito
that's what it
dirty?
is.
Look at those the dots on the side of the tortilla. You know, I might have said anal, but those details
Those details.
steer me towards vaginal.
I walk away from this. It's
I feel like it could be any orifice or protrusion, really. Maybe that's the magic.
Or protrusion.
Oh, I found a much bigger picture of the burrito because I googled what does it mean.
So that is crinklier foil.
Oh, that's a
Means-
way better
Oh
burrito.
shit! Sorry, guys.
Wow,
This
no,
is
this
is
I brought a
Apple's
bad.
version.
But
Sorry,
the thing
You
I'm
bought
not trying to
a
upstage
bad
the
burrito, Claire.
emoji. I googled what does the burrito mean sexually,
And
Oh, we're going there.
so
which is kind of screwing up
excited.
my search history. I'm going to acknowledge, but it says that it's sometimes a stand-in for the penis. It's like they basically said it gives the eggplant a break.
Oh, but the eggplant is so iconic. Why?
I
would
know.
you-
Yeah,
I agree.
and
I think
like
they're wrong.
burritos are so soft. It could be a flaccid penis. I got it. Okay, flaccid penis. Yeah.
And it's filled with
Love it.
beans.
I'm gonna start using it a lot.
You know what? They are soft, but there's something like, you know that feeling when you buy a burrito and you have it handed to you in the foil, and it just feels so good in your
Very
hand.
warm.
So curious what was going to follow. You know that feeling when?
Claire, I feel like you're trying to make me tell a story about egging someone.
Oh, I wasn't. We can't have it on here. What if they watch?
They definitely don't.
Oh.
I didn't even know this one existed, but
Neither.
now
Me neither.
Too soon. Too soon.
Still happening.